Thank you very much for making a date today on the marketplace. Welcome back. Plans to revise the country's energy policies to benefit the people are fully on course and will soon be ready. This review has become necessary for the country to increase its benefits in the petroleum sector. Speaking at the opening of the 11th International Upstream Forum in Accra, Minister of Energy John Peter Meru says government remains focused in ensuring that Ghanaians enjoy the best from the hydrocarbon fund.
Hydrocarbon activities, as you know, it's a dynamic activity. And changes in economic conditions and prices of hydrocarbons determine the policy directions of a country that want to achieve a sustainable development. We in Ghana evaluate our potentials economic discovery program and therefore adjust our policies from time to time to make sure that we are able to bring in competent players into the sector. I am happy to inform you that we at the Ministry of Energy are currently revising our national energy policy to provide for and ensure safe, secure, sustainable, and efficient petroleum activities in order to realize the optimal long-term petroleum resource utilizations for the benefits of the owners of the resources. These policies, as we are all aware, feed into the President's agenda of Ghana Beyond Aid.
The forum, which presents a platform for all energy stakeholders to share ideas, is being hosted in Ghana for the first time. Vice President Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia hinted that government will undertake measures to strengthen the Petroleum Commission in supervising activities of the industry.
Improving efficiency and existing development and production arrangements, including through strengthening the regulator to conduct its own independent studies for improving production and recovery rates, and empowering the National Oil Company to establish requisite standby capability for operations. The strategy also includes promoting minimal own investments for aggressive exploration, including closing critical data gaps, establishing minimum infrastructure to catalyze local content development, promoting accelerated capacity development to equip the youth with the relevant technical and vocational skills in line with industry standards that will ensure implementation of the accelerated oil and gas capacity program. And finally, improving transparency and the investment environment, including closing the gaps in the regulatory regime, limiting Ghana's eastern boundary, and transparent offering of drill-ready blocks.
This is live on the marketplace with me, Emmanuel Abuaji. Let's do one of our top stories now. And the Finance Ministry has rejected reports that its historic 20-year bond was a flop because it failed to secure the amount targeted. This was contained in a statement issued by the ministry earlier today. George Biafia has been going through the statement. He joins me in the studio for some details. Now, George, first tell us, how did we get here?
Yeah, how did we get? That's the most important question. Now, government, they call it the issuance calendar. I mean, it's giving us some strategy or an announcement that based on XYZ, they would be coming out onto the market to engage investors and raise some amount of money. And if you go through its third quarter calendar, they call it, where they give us a fair idea how much they're going to raise. They're looking at a little over 10 billion Ghana cedis. Now, in this calendar, they told us that they will issue a 20-year bond or a paper, and the amount there was about 450.
The first of its kind, right?
Yeah, talk about this is the first time government is actually issuing a bond that will take about 20 years for it to mature and pay everybody that invested in this bond. So they give us some indication in this calendar that they're going to raise a 20-year paper spread over this number of years, and the amount that they could be targeting for that paper was 450. Now, last week, they actually used the book building approach where they are going out to target specific investors to raise this amount of money. Now, the bond raising exercise ended, and what we picked up from the market was the government just got 162 million Ghana cedis.
Way below the targeted figure.
Now, yes, it's way below the targeted figure because everybody was looking at the amount that was mentioned in the issuance calendar of 450. So if that was the amount that they were targeting, and if you get 160, then it means the government failed to secure that amount.
So what exactly is the statement saying?
But the statement is saying that, no, you're getting it wrong. Our approach was that they were going to raise up to 450 million Ghana cedis. So up to means that the strategy based on their own policy of raising funds over a long-term period, they would come onto the market, raise a little bit according to their statements, and then come again and raise another bit where they'll call it the shelf approach in doing this arrangement. So based on that strategy, which was outlined in their debt management document, one cannot conclude that this paper wasn't successful. It was a flop.
Could this not be just a semantics as a way of
Well, it's interesting because we would all want to see what is stated in the prospectus in going to issue this bond. What was the plan? What was the targeted amount? Because we are looking at the calendar. It gives us a fair idea about how much government is going to raise. And therefore, if you look at the calendar indeed has stated that they are going to target 450 million Ghana cedis. We are just realizing or getting to know, based on this statement coming from the finance ministry, that no, they were actually going to use the shelf approach in doing this, and therefore,
so it's like cumulatively,
it would come onto the market more, raise the money in tranches, and it wouldn't be a one-off fundraising exercise. So we shouldn't use that to make a judgment that. And just reading a portion of that statement, it says that the strategy is consistent with our 2019 annual borrowing plan and 2019 medium debt strategy of issuing longer-dated bonds beyond 10 years and extended the yield curve. So the plan here, government is saying that let's understand certain things according to what they are saying in their statement, that they want to actually lengthen the time that when they borrow on the market, they take to pay their papers or to pay investors. Because what is happening right now is that we have bonds that are issued 5 years, 10 years. And it looks like that is not, don't forget that these bonds in terms of payment sometimes are done every quarter, every 6 months and all the rest. And doesn't give government the space in terms of managing its resources. So if we have long-dated bonds, then it gives government the time to use other funds or the fund that they're supposed to use to pay these investors off to finance other critical projects in the country. And therefore, the plan is that they're going to lengthen the time, hoping that they'll raise fresh bonds at a cheaper rate and use it to finance the expensive bonds that are currently in the system.
So does it necessarily mean that they could continue with the issuing of this 20-year bond?
Again, restricting ourselves to this statement that they've issued from the finance ministry. I'm yet to be educated on the nuances on this strategy that government said that they have outlined in their medium-term paper. But we all know that when they issue these papers, it's a one-off fundraising exercise. They come onto the market, they raise the money. But the government is insisting that based on its strategy that they went into this fundraising exercise, no one can make the argument that this was a flop. It's part of their strategy, and rather they should be commended that they are lengthening the period, or they are looking at a longer period in paying. Other countries do more longer dated bonds. It takes them a longer time to pay this bond, and therefore it leaves the short-term space for you to use money for other critical projects, rather than always thinking about the fact that I'm paying off investors who bought into my paper, and they believe that even that would again lessen the pressure on the Ghana cedi in terms of going to look for cedis, more cedi, because your cedi is not stable, and pay off those offshore investors or foreign investors who bought into our bond, because a chunk of our bonds, you understand, are taken up by foreign investors.
Sure. All right. So let's just wait and see, and also get some more explanation in the subsequent bulletins. Many thanks, George, for bringing us up to speed with the latest development, the latest release from the Ministry of Finance as to its defense against the current bond issue, the 20-year historic bond issue, which failed to target or hit the target amount of $450 million. Now, away from that, government has been urged to make available affordable smartphones and device digital innovations for financial service delivery. Senior Director for Research and Policy Advisory Services at ACET, Dr. Edward Brown, says this is crucial to enhance financial inclusion, especially within the rural areas. Dr. Edward Brown has been speaking to Joy Business at the African Center for Economic Transformation Policy Learning event on financial inclusion.
Highlights of a report carried out in 3 African countries, Zambia, Sierra Leone and Guinea, indicated that cumbersome requirements, poor rural infrastructure, weak operating model by banks, cultural and social norms, as well as poor digital infrastructure, among others, were key hindrances to improving financial inclusion among women and the youth in sub-Saharan Africa. For instance, a report by the World Bank revealed that although financial inclusion in Ghana stood at 58%, the composition is made up of 54% women as against the majority of 58% of men. But speaking to Joy Business, Project's technical lead for the African Center for Economic Transformation, David Dakwa, said there's a huge opportunity for institutions to exploit digitization to expand financial service delivery, especially in rural communities.
One main finding was that the mobile phone has become very important. It's an important tool that can be used to deliver financial services. It's an important delivery channel. We found that in all 3 markets, mobile phone ownership and access has increased. Also, smartphone access has increased considerably. And so it's an important area primarily for developing markets like ours that have a lot of physical infrastructure barriers where you don't have banks willing to serve rural markets. Mobile phones provide that way for us to escape or jump over some of these hurdles.
Senior Director for Research and Policy Advisory Services added governments must incentivize the private sector to lead the digital transformation which is necessary for facilitating delivery of financial services.
The majority of the most vulnerable groups are in the rural areas, and access to financial inclusion in the rural areas is much weaker than in the urban areas. And this is where public policy and regulations are critical in order to create the right incentives and environment to attract private sector actors into the rural areas. You know, the brick and mortar type of banking is already beginning to become a dead issue. It's a dinosaur. And we need to look at digital revolution that is helping to increase access to financial inclusion in the areas. But one of the critical issues where the state can play a critical role is in the financial infrastructure, the digital infrastructure as well as the fiscal infrastructure. And then on the digital revolution and the digital technologies, the whole issue of smartphones. You know, up till now, there's still a lot of people are using feature phones that do not offer enough capability to be able to really operate within the mobile banking system. So with smartphones, it's going to be easy. And how you do that is what public policy needs to inform.
For Joy Business, Sheila Tamaklo reporting.
Now, Ghana Hotels Association has warned that Ghana's hospitality sector could lose out big time when the African Continental Free Trade Agreement is fully implemented. President of the association, Dr. Edward Akanyamika Jr., says if government does not step up efforts to deal with outstanding issues, the industry will not derive much. He was speaking on the sidelines of a press conference in Accra to address some issues undermining hotels in the country.
Continental free trade area will certainly bring in a lot of guests, and we have hotels that will meet that standard.
But they have any issues?
Well, you see, and that's why I'm saying that if government is serious, okay, about creating that impressive hub, okay, to pull in more visitors, then we have to look at those challenges on the ground. Yeah, we need to look at those challenges on the ground, because if we set up the secretariat here and we begin to witness falling standards from the hotels because of the challenges that we are facing, at the end of the day, total wear down will be zero. Okay, so what we are saying that they should begin to sit with the industry players through the ministry, through tourism. And we've always mentioned that, see, we need to have a more holistic approach to tourism. Because tourism itself is a cultural thing, it's a lifestyle thing. It cannot be dealt with one ministry. I always say that. It cannot be dealt with by only the Ghana Tourism Authority. Yeah. There needs to be that sector approach to it, where you multi-sector approach to it, where you bring in all the players. Sanitation is there. When we are promoting tourism, we need to promote sanitation, we need to promote the infrastructure.
Now, after months of struggling to reclaim her 10,000 Ghana cedis from a defunct savings and loans company, Uforiwa has vowed never to entrust her money with any other institution. Uforiwa is one of thousands of affected entrepreneurs in the recent cleanup of the savings and loans sector. Although the exercise was expected to, in the long run, build confidence within the space, the result portrays otherwise. Here's a repeat of AM Business.
Lack of finance has always been one of the major barriers facing women entrepreneurs, particularly those in marginalized communities. In this regard, some financial institutions have done their best to reach out to these women as part of the financial inclusion agenda. The women at Malata Market tell me how several financial institutions usually visit them, presenting various financial products and packages to get them enrolled. Hannah is one of the numerous women who turn to a savings and loans company as a source to obtain credit. Unfortunately, this did not go as planned. For 20 years, she kept her savings with Midland Savings and Loans, one of the affected institutions in the recent cleanup. After hearing news of a customer who was maltreated simply for trying to reclaim her money in July 2018, Hannah knew it was time to go back for her money.
After a customer was manhandled at Midland, most of us market women decided to go for our monies. But it has not even been possible since then. It has been one promise after the other. Now that the Bank of Ghana has taken over, let's see how it goes.
Although her confectionery business seems steady, she blames the slow progress on the damage that happened to the financial sector due to the reforms. With over 7,000 cedis frozen, she believes she could have grown her business further.
Business has been so slow. The money I saved is profit from my business. So now, how do I save my business when my money is stuck there? I want to restock, but I don't have any extra money to do that. And I don't want to consider going for a loan because I might not be able to pay back. I just need my money to grow back my business.
It's been over a year now since Hannah first made attempts to get back her money from the defunct institution. Now, with government stepping in, a receiver has been appointed to help ensure that monies are paid back to all affected investors. Hannah is just hoping that this process by government would indeed help her to retrieve all her money.
I am hopeful that the Bank of Ghana will indeed give me back the money as it has promised. Telephone numbers.
For months prior to the Bank of Ghana's announcement, a number of savings and loans companies were having challenges paying off customers. By engaging with some of these market women, I get the understanding that many have been affected by the banking sector cleanup, thereby affecting some businesses. However, most of these women were unwilling to recount the pain they've gone through and how their lives have been affected. Mavis Asiedugezi counts herself fortunate as she was able to withdraw a chunk of her savings just weeks before the license of her company, UniCredit, was revoked.
Very, very fortunate and happy that I got 5,000 before this case came up.
Otherwise, it would have really affected your business.
Of course, because I use the money for my business. I do buy the things and sell it and send the money back. And when I need it, then I go for it again. But I'm not too sure of the money, whether it's coming or it's just a camouflage to us to fill the forms or not. I'm not too sure. So we wait until when they say we should come for the money, if the money is ready.
Just left with about 470 cedis, Mavis is also hoping that the regulator will indeed pay the money due them.
So I went for the money to buy my oil to sell. I took 5,000. After the 5,000, the following week, and I heard that they had a problem. So I was saying, wow, I'm lucky I took the money, but unfortunately I left some. So later they just announced that the bank has collapsed. We went there for the money. They were tossing us up and down. We did not get the money. So finally, they announced on television that they are bringing forms. So we should go and pick the forms and fill it. So when I went for the forms, I filled it all right, and they said if the money is ready, the money will be ready in September, I think September somewhere. So if the money is ready, am I ready to come and take it from the bank, or they should send it on a mobile money? I told them I don't want the mobile money because by that time it will be a crucial time and there may be a mistake to go and send the money to somebody else. I'll walk into the bank myself and take it.
Government through the receiver, Eric Nipa, has assured that no depositor of any of the 23 affected institutions will lose their investments, sounding confident that the receiver will ensure that all monies are given back.
So they do this internal reconciliation. They take your documents and reconcile them to the documents of the company independently. And if indeed it is what it is, then they move into the stage 3, which is to notify you that your validation was successful. Where your validation hasn't been entirely successful, they'll still notify you and raise issue with the areas which need further consideration for you to come in, sit with them, and then agree. Having agreed that your claim is valid, it is then admitted in the receivership process. Then we move to the arena of payments, where depending upon the timing and quantum of realizations, not generally, then you'll be notified as to how you're going to be paid and where you're going to be paid.
The cleanup of the financial sector is part of government's plan to sanitize the sector and restore confidence. However, this process might not be enough, as the damage might have already been caused. With recent happenings, many people have sworn they would never keep their money with the savings and loans company again. Joyce Jabing is one of such women. She, however, has not lost confidence entirely in the financial system as she saves with 2 banks. She explained that a bad experience with the savings and loans company killed all plans of ever engaging with any such company again.
Meanwhile, you have your money with them. They are keeping the money, saying we are keeping it for you. And we are giving you loan. And the loan that I'm giving you, my loan there, you will pay interest on my loan. But what you are saving with me, there's nothing. Small interest is what they will add to it for you. So I don't think it's right. Why do I have to give my money to you? And at the end of the day, you will stress me up. So if you've been taking the money there yourself, you can confidently go there and take the little that you think you want to take, or the little that you want to deposit. Then you deposit it. So me savings and loans today, I don't want it.
For her, the whole purpose of savings and loans companies was defeated, as she believes most of these companies engaged in shady deals, which eventually led to their downfall.
To me, and I think they are cheats. You can't come to me to convince me to save with you. You come back again. If you need a loan, I'll give you the loan. So if I'm coming for the loan, you say, what you have saved with me, let it be there, but I'm giving you this. Upon what I'm giving you, you are going to pay interest on what I'm giving you. But the interest yourself you are giving on what I have with you, is small. What you are taking from me is small. What is the guarantee that it's not my money that you are giving back to me?
I
am done keeping my money with these savings and loans companies. I used to keep my money at a bank, and I was never tossed about when I needed money.
And here we draw the curtains down on this edition of the Marketplace. It's been great having you on board. My name is Emmanuel Abuaji. Have a good afternoon.